Thank you very much again. It's me, Ekens Azubiken, on behalf of the Ekens Foundation International, helping rejected refugees and asylum seekers in various detention. Today, I'm still want to talk about the death of Mr. Idowu Alo, the Nigerian guy who died at the hand of Canada Border Service Agency at the Calgary Airport in Canada during deportation after staying in Canada for over 13 years. In this aspect, a lot have happened. During my research, I find out some other names that was killed or died at the hand of the Immigration or Canada Border Service Agency during deportation or in detention. However, it's very important to understand that this death was a preventable one. And I'm holding the Nigerian embassy in Ottawa, Canada, responsible for the death of this Nigerian guy, because if the Nigerian embassy did not issue a travel documents on this guy's behalf, this death wouldn't have occurred in this aspect. So, as you may be aware, there are so many people like the Idowu Alo in Canada suffering in various detention or fighting for their refugee claim, and most of them have been rejected, facing deportation to their country of origin, where they will face a persecution at the hand of their agent of persecution. With my personal experience and personal encounter with this Canada Border Service Agency, it's very important for the Canadian citizens to understand exactly what is going on within this immigration sector, because most of the Canadian citizens have been blowing out of proportion in their minds, having fear of immigrants in Canada without understanding the system, without understanding what these people are passing through. But I wish that most of those politicians will recall back of their ancestors that came to Canada maybe during or after the World War. Their ancestors that laid the foundation to them on what they are enjoying today. Because most of those politicians right now do not have the political will to address this immigration issue in Canada. It's like an issue they don't want to touch about, because some of them fear of losing the re-election. But I'm going to tell you here that most of this Canada Border Service Agency love their dog in their house more than immigrants, because of my personal encounter with them or what I have witnessed for 11 years dealing with this sector of Canada Border Service Agency. Most of these people you see are really heartless. They don't care about your life. As long as your file gets to their hand, they don't look back. They don't have much value. So that is why I took the death of this Idowu Alo personal, and fighting for justice of this guy's family so that they can get justice at all costs. So the death of this guy at the Canada Border Service Agency will not be an in vain. It should be a lesson to learn. It should be a lesson for the Nigerian ambassador in Ottawa to learn, because the embassy in Ottawa is personally responsible for this debt. Because if they did not issue the travel documents for this guy to leave, this debt wouldn't have occurred as it is. As you may be aware, 2019 election is coming close. Some politicians will come to your door, they will come to your barbecue, they will talk to you, but some of them are those who never care about you, whether you exist or not, for over 3 years plus. They got elected in the parliament. Some of them forgot the electorate, some of them forgot the grassroots, because they felt that they have the post they needed. But as election is coming close now, you may understand that some of them will still come to your door, some of them will still come to your barbecue, some of them will come for your community events in order to win your vote or gain your vote. It's very important that any of you vote wisely. Wherever you are in Canada, as the founder of the Ethnic Voters Party movement in Canada, which advocates for the right of ethnic voters, my duty is to make sure that they did not gain your vote when they need it, or when they needed your vote, and back off after they got what you want. This is a time for you to negotiate. This is a time for you to lobby. This is the time for you to speak out on behalf of your community. Tell the politicians what you need. Your brothers, your sisters who are in prison, who is suffering for years at the hand of immigration or Canada Border Service Agency or Canada Citizenship and Immigration, because of the backlogs of the file that had been piled up since the time the Conservative government was in power. Those files now have been inherited by the Liberal government. So I'm advocating for the government to reform the immigration and overhaul it so that those files can move. Because, as I said, my understanding is that the Canada Border Service Agency and the Citizenship and Immigration trying to frustrate the current government, the Liberal government, to make the Liberal government to look bad, as if they hate foreigners, as if they hate the immigrants. So, if the government can be able to make their time, put it as a priority to legalize weed, why can't the government take it as a priority to overhaul or push for the immigration reform? Why should the government leave this matter open, and now the election is coming close, this immigration issue or refugee issue is being used for politics? This is where I come in. My organization, Ekens Foundation International, is advocating for immigration reform, because I meet one-to-one or one-on-to-one of those people who are in detention that their asylum claim has been rejected. I come encounter with them every day. I interact with them. I really want the government to work with those victims, not to work with the media that is being manipulating news, that do pick and choose. Why should the politicians claim that they love families while they sit on people's file for years and separate families? This is weekend. Most of these politicians and Canada Border Service Agency and CBSA are in their family now, enjoying with various family members, while some of you family has been separated for years. Sometimes you cannot be able to have money to make a phone call. So how come these politicians go and sleep very well, with their family, enjoy the barbecue, enjoy coffee, without thinking of you immigrant or you refugees that has been separated from your family for years. This is what I'm advocating, that the Canadian government, under this Trudeau government, should create the Canadian Ombudsman Commission to see the oversight of all the rejected refugees and asylum seekers, and to overhaul this immigration, look into all the backlogs, files that had been piled up, almost 52,000 files, so that this file will move. This file they can speed up this file and let the people that come here for refugee know their fate, not to keep them. One other thing I want to bring to the attention of this government is it's not good for government to fight government, institution to fight institution. Somebody will come here, present his application for refugee, the Immigration Board of Canada, that is independent organization, will confer a refugee applicant a refugee status under the Geneva Convention. But the Ministry of Justice and Immigration will collide, spending taxpayers' money, filing application on this decision. What it means is a broken system. It seems that the government do not trust their own judges. The government do not trust their own institution. Otherwise, why will government, another section of the government, spend taxpayers' money fighting a case that has been concluded by an independent board? This is a violation of the Geneva Convention, and the UNHCR, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, should step up and speak on behalf of those victims. This is the reason why I am calling upon you. As election is coming close, I will compile a list of those politicians, those elected officials that have you in mind. Wherever you live in Canada, whichever province you live in, I will update you of those politicians that have you in mind, that have in mind to reform the immigration system, that have in mind to fight for your justice, so that you can be able to advise your family or to vote for these people back and vote out those people that have disconnected themselves from the grassroots voters or the electorate, to let them know that the electorate have the power. Thank you very much. Subscribe for Ekens Foundation International to update you on the news for the immigration. I hope that the government will hear this call. I hope the government, as soon as possible, will start the immigration reform before the election. Thank you very much again, and have a good day. Thanks.